You know who is damn good, though? What Sean Payton, this New Orleans Saints team, is doing right now. Make no mistake, okay? I think that it is nothing short of remarkable what Sean Payton is doing right now. And you got to really focus in on the context of what's going on in the Saints and how they're winning. First off, just off the bat, you are in the first year post Hall of Fame quarterback, right? You were in the first year after an era, the greatest era in your franchise history, not even close. Right. 15 years of offensive dominance, playoff relevance, championship relevance, like the just everything else removed. You most of the time have a downfall year next year where you're really struggling. Like it's very easy to fall into that. Well, then you get into the fact that you got no Mike Thomas, you have no Traquan Smith, you've had no Will Lutz, you'd have no Eric McCoy all season long. Tron Armstead you only got a little bit of. This last game, everybody who makes a play starts going down. I mean, one point you were down, Dante Harris left the hamstring, Taysom Hill gets the big hit, he has to leave. Tony Jones Jr. had already gotten hurt coming into this game. Yeah. Andrus Peat left for a few series. You saw our guy Will Clapp in there. I mean, going against that D-line, missing 3 starters at times from your offensive line, like down so many pieces. And yet here you sit in the NFL, which we can see clearly every Sunday that it is so hard to win, right? You see it all the time. Teams that have no business, it's kind of like the 0-3 Giants where they did the Saints. That's just life in the NFL. So for them to sit here at 3-2 it's like I said, Jake, it's nothing short of remarkable to me. And Sean Payton deserves all the credit in the world here.
Yeah, I know a lot of people look at this team and certainly offensively, and they're just like, man, it just doesn't look like it's always looked. I know Drew Brees had some comments on NBC last night, and he's kind of the same tone. Like, you know, there's just things that he'd like to see more of. But, hey, it doesn't have to look like it looked for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like you said, T, this is a new chapter in the book. Like, you now have a new quarterback. You have Jameis Winston. And I realized that he was only 50% yesterday. And, one of his touchdowns was a Hail Mary. Look, a touchdown's a touchdown. And they are finding ways to create points, and they're doing it, like we said earlier, with your offensive line and really a lot of your weapons held together by duct tape and super glue. Like, you're still finding a way to win football games. Taysom Hill, for example, he gets knocked out of the game yesterday, right? Okay, well, he's a big part the last couple of weeks of what they do. I mean, the Giants game, right? I mean, he was one of the more successful offensive players. Well, you know what? They don't panic. They find a way, and they overcome. That's what's impressive to me, the fact that they can keep overcoming all of these injuries over and over again, and it's key players. It's not just, you know, Tony Jones, who's a good player, but he's your backup running back.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's just in the mix to kind of reinforce the point.
Now, like, McCoy's one of the better centers in the league. Yeah. We know what Michael Thomas is. We know what Taysom Hill means to you, right? And not in his quarterback role, but it is like X factor, whatever you want to call that type of role. And you lose Harris with a hamstring. It's just like over and over and over again. Like, Harris had a 72-yard touchdown this game. He's
awesome.
Gone. Like, he's out. So you have to overcome so many things within a game, before the game. It seems like after the game you always get bad news, but you have a winning record and you continue to find ways, and you did it on the road.
3-2, and I got a bunch of them to talk about. Yeah, how about this? 3-2, and you know how in the LSU game we had the very clear contrast with the 2 fourth down attempts from the two teams, and just what that kind of like, just how that reinforced everything that was wrong. Well, if you want to talk about a very clear contrast from which to look at, like, and say, okay, they have grown here, it was eerily similar to me with 11 minutes in the game when all of a sudden the Saints are up 9 and they have the ball and they have to close out the game, right? Like, literally the exact same thing that happened against the New York Giants. Now, in this equation, they managed to. There were a couple key differences, though, right? Against the Giants, they end up getting the 2-point conversion. They make it a 3-point game and allows you to come back. This time, you stop them on the 2-point conversion, and then when the offense gets the ball back, what do? You go for it on 4th down. You convert a huge 4th down, and then you just use an excellent mixture of running and throwing to get all the way down there and score the coffin touchdown. For the second week in a row, you were in the same position, and yet this time, everywhere you failed last week, you succeeded this week, and that's a key point of growth, I think, to point out. And speaking of growth, How about Marquez Callaway, boys? Okay. Mario, I can let you take the stage here. You're very passionate about this. You were texting about this in the group, but all of a sudden, Callaway's putting together a pretty nice season, 750 yards. Are we on pace for that?
Oh, well, no, I don't think so. He still has around like 200 on the season because he started really slow. He
That's
had
what
like
I'm saying, though.
one catch first game.
Yeah, but this is a 17-game season.
Yeah.
So if he's at 200, I mean, he's right on the let's look at his season stats as a whole. But go on. What do you think about Marquez Callaway?
No, I think the last 3 games, he's really been huge for the Saints. As I said in the text, I mean, if you break down what he's done game by game, he bails out Jameis on that touchdown when he was not looking, God's plan, all that good stuff. Then against the Giants in the loss, he makes a big play on a deep ball, 50-plus yards. He gets injured. He plays through that, ends up going for 70-plus yards on the game. And then yesterday was huge, not just a Hail Mary, but the second touchdown on the rub route. He's a really good complementary receiver. I don't think he's going to be a superstar and put up huge numbers, but I think he's a really good football player that can really help the Saints going forward.
Yeah, so he's at 222 on the season right now. So he's averaging around, like 45 yards a game. So if we just extrapolate that through 17, he's right under 750. So that's still a play. Because you'd think that he would only get better and maybe more productive as Mike Thomas turns. Wait, is that right?
The 754, yeah.
Okay, so my brain math was wrong. So he is, man, we really set that over under quite nicely, didn't we? He's literally on pace for 754 at this point. Yeah. So great job, Marquez Callaway. He was excellent. And also, let's talk about the Hail Mary. Now, first off, Blake Gillikin, his punt, incredible job. He sets it up. Defense is their job. It gives you the ball back. And now, because of Jameis Winston's arm strength, you have the opportunity. Look, I know that is a low percentage play. I know that. But that doesn't mean that there still can't be very well-executed pieces within a low percentage play. And make no mistake, Jameis Winston's ability right there to avoid the rush, reset his feet, and then launch it. And look, not a line drive. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jake, but I think this is why it works. Is because he skies this thing like a punt, right?
Yep.
And so everybody's timing is all off except for Marquez Callaway. That's why you saw Washington players even jumping because they're like, what the, like, it just, nobody could time it up what the ball was doing.
Absolutely. You almost knew before it even landed that Saints had a real high chance, actually, because of where the receivers were slotted. And you're right, like Jameis, that was 49 yards. I mean, every NFL quarterback can throw it 49 yards, but it was the way that he threw it, putting the air on the ball, allowing his players to get their feet set, and then high point the football. So, yeah, that was a hell of a play by Jameis Winston and obviously Callaway to come down with it. And those are backbreakers, man. When you have a play like that and you're on the other sideline of it, it crushes you, and that bleeds into the next quarter.
Yeah, and it ended up being critical, right? I mean, on a day where the offense sputtered at times, that touchdown was the lone bright spot for the middle portion of the game. Now, the offense was really good at the beginning. It was really good at the end. And what more can we say about Alvin Kamara, right? At a time when everybody else has gotten hurt, he is the one superstar that has remained consistent and available, and he goes for another 130 combined, I believe 132 is fine. 16 carries, 71 yards, 5 catches, 51, a touchdown both on the air and on the ground. Could have had more receiving, actually. Jameis dropped a beautiful wheel route to him that just fell through his hands. But, I mean, he's just so much fun to watch play, man. He's the guy.
I mean, he's the guy that makes everything go.
Yeah.
Like, everything should run through him. Like, there's a reason why he got the contract that he did. He's much more than just RB1. I mean, he is an offensive weapon. He is someone that can obviously get the ball, but he can disguise a lot of things as well because he garners so much attention that you can set up everything off of him. And Sean Payton, we know it. I mean, he's one of the best play callers in the NFL, and so he knows exactly what situations to put him in to make all the attention go to him as well. Like if you and then if you don't dictate what you're doing based on him, then you just give him the ball and then he makes a play. So I mean, it's a true weapon for the Saints to have him, and when they use him correctly, which most times they do, it's a completely different offense.
And I did like after he scored the nail in the coffin touchdown celebration, kind of running out the stadium. That was really good. It's just he's so fast.
And they finally threw him the ball after like the Giants game. They didn't throw him a single pass.
Yeah, that was the first time in 64 games. Our guy Vic Howe gave us that set. Yeah.
And it's weird, right? Sometimes you got to have those kind of moments where I don't know, Jake, okay, so like in the middle of the Giants game, is Sean Payton cognizant of that, or are you just so caught up in the flow? He's not thinking like, oh man, we haven't even, like, what do you think?
Oh, he knew. I mean, you have to know, like if Alvin Kamara didn't get a target, like not even a catch, like a target, like like, hey, something ain't right. Like we got to figure out a way. And I'm surprised, like in that Giants game, they didn't just say, hey, we're going to either line up at 11 personnel and you're going to have a free release flat, which can give you the ball in space just to see what you can do, or screen, or so many different ways they get Alvin Kamara the ball. So, yeah, you definitely know.
So I got the new Saints jersey. I'm very excited about it because I'm very excited about this Saints team because what they did. We talked about the offense a lot, and I think the offense is getting a bit too much flack. Like Saints fans seem really unhappy right now. Like Jake said, it's about winning the game, okay? And they're doing what they need to do to win. Defensively, I mean, that's how you're winning games. This team continues to be spectacular defensively. Now, granted, going against Heineke is one thing, but, we've seen Heineke have some success. And I thought that defensively this game, although there's a lot of good to highlight, I do start with Marshawn Lattimore because Terry McLaurin's an absolute beast. He has killed a ton of people in this league. He is he's definitely a top 10 receiver in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And Marshawn Lattimore blanketed him, shut him down. I loved, too, I think it was like the last drive of the game where I want to say he shut him down on like second, third, and fourth down, potentially. It was very much the little bow on a dominant day for Lattimore. But, yeah, when he plays like that, Underhill tweeted this during the game, but when he plays like that, it's when you think like, okay, he's legitimately, at that form, he's in the conversation of maybe being the best corner in the league. Not saying he just is with a bullet, but that's the type of level that he played at.
I love seeing guys that get paid, and he was always going to get paid, but I love to see when guys get paid, them actually raise their level of play. Yeah, because there's a couple of ways you can go. Like I've been in locker rooms where a guy gets paid and it's done. Like he's like, I made it. Yeah, I've seen guys get paid and not play another game. I mean, it's that bad. But he's gotten paid, and this might be the best run he's ever been on. I mean, he's playing at an extremely high level. I mean, shutting down – used to be he shut down certain receivers. Mike Evans was always in that category. He's shutting down everybody now. So credit to him because he's doing what he's supposed to do. He is locking down one side of the field, which when you're trying to figure out some young guys over on the other side or some other pieces that you brought in, I know you've got some moving parts over there. Like having one side shut down and knowing you don't have to worry about it, that's big.
And then what's wild, Jake, is so he shuts down that side. So, okay, where are you going to look immediately? Oh, I'm going to attack the rookie. I'm going to go after Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo, I just got a little bit of goosebumps. He is the complete inverse of Stanley Jean-Baptiste, right? I mean, just in terms of, like, names that you were kind of like, oh, who is that? Because, Adebo held out, and so everybody wasn't really sure about, like, what kind of form is he actually going to be in? How's this cat going to be? And he has... the same way that Stanley Jean-Baptiste so aggressively underperformed his draft number, Adebo is aggressively overperforming his draft slot. I mean, what was it, second round, right? Or third round? Third round? And this dude just started with now 2 picks in the year. And what I love is he got picked on last week. Okay, he struggled last week. He got picked on. What did he do this week? He bounces back. He has a really good game, including getting the pick, which he didn't do anything super special on the pick, but he was in the position, right? And then he made the play. Like, you still got to come down with it. So... really enjoyed seeing him. PJ Williams getting a pick was interesting as well. It's been a hot minute since I thought about PJ Williams, really. But shout out to him.
Also, since we're talking defense here, Pete Warner I thought had a really nice game. 13 total tackles, 8 solos. Thought he was flying around. Gives you some athletic ability there in the middle. Go along with Demario Davis, and obviously you're waiting on some again. Stop me if you heard this, guys, to get healthy on this Saints team.
Yeah, I forgot about Quan.
We saw Quan Alexander kind of be the hype man yesterday. Obviously, wasn't dressed out, active for the game, but he was definitely involved in talking to the players, trying to get them in the right mindset there during all the timeouts. So, again, right now, this is not a finished product. It's not where you want the Saints to be, but knowing that they've got their players coming back and they're starting to hit, it's going to be like every week you're going to get one back. Good deal. It's a good deal right now.
It is kind of funny. Like maybe all the short-term bad ends up feeling really good when those guys start to come back. Tano Passanha continues to be a sneaky, huge addition to, in my opinion, in the offseason. He's been really solid and effective on that D-line. Carl Granderson rushed the passer really well on Sunday. So overall, just another great defensive performance, this time led by Marshawn Lattimore and, of course, led by Demario Davis, who is just an absolute monster all the time. Also, I should have mentioned this, but Jameis 1 of 1 has gone ahead and confirmed that Jameis is the quarterback chosen by God. Here's a quote from Jameis 1 of 1. He says, "Professing Christian Jameis Winston just led the Saints," interesting name, to a biblical beatdown of the Washington football team that included 4 touchdown passes. And here's the key, 4 touchdown passes. There just happens to be 4 gospels in the Bible. So, I mean, does 1 of 1 tweet this out every game he throws 4 touchdowns? I don't know. But, I mean, he's right, is he not? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. 1, 2, 3, 4 touchdowns to Jameis. It's confirmed, man. God's on the Saints' side. Shout out Jameis 1 of 1. Should have known.
They are the Saints.
They are the Saints.
So
I mean, it makes sense. Special teams thoughts. Blake Gillikin, like Danny said, maybe MVP of the game. Incredible. 3 punts inside the 3 and a bomb. You see why Morstead's time had to come to an end. Unfortunately, as good as the punting has been, the kicking remains a disaster. So I think Cody Parkey already got cut, right? Didn't that get confirmed this morning? Or maybe that was just somebody saying that where they were like, Cody Parkey, we hardly knew you. But I would not be surprised. If it's not official, just look it up and let's see. But Cody Parkey missing 2 extra points. Like, please, Will Lutz, you need to come back. You are missed desperately right now. How are you 3-2 with as many missed kicks as the Saints have? Because Sean Payton.
Kicking in the NFL, talk about weekend losers. Oh,
yes.
my gosh.
Yes.
I mean, missed extra points, missed field goals, game winners, celebrating kicks that didn't go in. Veteran players like Mason Crosby that had made like 2 years worth of field goals in a row, and he misses 3 in one game. Like,
yeah, wait, and the funny thing about Crosby is, remember, this streak started after he had a similar game a couple years ago where he cost them. He missed like 4 or 5, right? So Crosby's one of the all-time best, like most consistent kickers, except if you just get him on the wrong day every couple of years. He just like, I mean, I don't know. Good for him though. He's still he still did manage to hit the game winner. Alvin Kamara, why did T-Bob just get a Boston accent? He said bomb. It's the same thing as massage. I apologize. I don't know how to say it. I'm so sick of y'all all coming at me. I don't know how to say it. What do you want me to do?
Dude, it's fine. Again, there's a lot of things that come out of this side of it that are like, what? What that redneck just say?
That's fair. That's
fine.
Okay. Any other Saints thoughts before we kind of, I want to look at the AP poll, kind of get into football weekend as a whole. But again, for as bad as LSU has been, given the context of what's happening, the Saints being 3-2 going to the bye, couldn't ask for better. Like, even with, I get that they should be 4-1, you could argue all that, but should be always dangerous because you've got breaks along the way that led you to win. So, like, whatever. The point is you are 3-2 going to the bye, and that's great.
Cody Parkey still is on the team.
He still is, so he's not been officially cut.
No.
Nope. Okay. Well, we'll see. Coming up next, let's look at the other biggest games of the weekend, and like I said, let's check out the new college poll. There's just been some huge movement. Oh, I can't wait for this jersey to come in. More off the bench. Keep it locked. 104.5 ESPN.